Is having a speech in front of many people or a crowd scares you? Or you were talking confidently, but you suddenly realized that your audiences are not enjoying it? Or they were scared, or they were annoyed, or they were bored? Well, my topic that I will discuss to you tackles about how to analyze and how important to analyze first your audiences before having a speech. It will help you to be a best speaker who starts and ends his speech confidently with energy and of course with the audiences enjoying it. Welcome to the approaches to audience analysis. First, let us define what is audience analysis. An audience analysis is when you consider all the pertinent elements that make up the demographic characteristics of your audiences. Examples of demographic characteristics are age, gender, education, occupation, language, ethnicity, culture, background knowledge, needs and interests, and previously held attitude, beliefs, and values. There are three overarching methods or paradigms for doing an audience analysis. First is the direct observation. Audience analysis by direct observation or direct experience is by far the most simple of the three paradigms for getting the feel of a particular audience. It is a form of qualitative data gathering. We perceive it through one or more of our five natural senses, which is the hearing, the seeing, the touching, the tasting, and the smelling. Knowledge that we acquire through personal experience has more impact on us than knowledge that we learn indirectly. Knowledge acquired through personal experience is also more likely to affect our thinking and will be retained for a longer period of time. We are more likely to trust what we hear, what we see, what we feel, what we taste and smell rather than we learn from some secondary sources of information. All you really need to do for this method of observation is to examine your audience. If you are lucky enough to be able to do this before speaking to your audience, you will be able to gather some basic reflective data. How old they are, what racial mix does this audience have, does this nonverbal behavior indicate that they are excited to hear this speech? That will help you arrange your thoughts and arguments for your speech. Second is the inference. Audience analysis by inference is merely a logical extension of your observations in the method. It is a form of critical thinking known as inductive reasoning and another form of qualitative data gathering. An inference is when you make reasoned tentative conclusion or logical judgment based on the basis of available evidences. It is best used when you can identify patterns in your evidence that indicate something is expected to happen again or should true based upon previous experiences. A good speaker knows how to interpret information and close conclusion from information. As individuals, we make inferences or reasonable assumptions all the time. For example, when we hear something speaking Arabic, we infer that they are from Middle East. When something see this person carrying a copy of Quran, we infer that we also a follower of a Muslim faith. These are recent conclusions that we make based upon the available evidences to us and our general knowledge about people and their traits. Third is the data sampling. Unlike audience analysis by direct observation and analysis by inference, audience analysis by data sampling uses statistical evidence to quantify and clarify the characteristics of your audience. These characteristics are also known as variables and are assigned a numerical value so they can systematically collect and clarify them. They are reported as statistics, also known as quantitative analysis or quantitative data collection. Statistics are numerical summaries of facts, figures, research findings, and audience analysis by data sampling requires you to survey your audiences before you give your speech. You need to know the basics of doing a survey before you actually collect and interpret your data. So as a summary, Audience analysis is when you consider all of the pertinent elements defining the makeup and demographic characteristics, also known as demographics, of your audience. From the Greek prefix demo, means of the people, we come to understand that there are detailed accounts of human populations such as age, gender, occupation, education, language, ethnicity, culture, background knowledge, needs and interests, attitudes, beliefs, and values. There are three overarching methods or paradigms for doing an audience analysis, which is the direct observation, inference, and lastly is the data sampling. According to Winston Churchill, a good speech should be like a woman's skirt, long enough to cover the subject and short enough to create an interest. Proper audience analysis will give you or will assure you that you give the right speech to the right person or to the right audiences. You should be sensitive about your audiences because having a speech is not only knowing your topic well but knowing your audiences well also. So to assure you that your speech will be effective and your speech will be successful, do an audience analysis first.